On Humans, a Primer, First Edition. Written in this, the 5,896th year of the Galactic Federation, by order of the Office of the High Chancellor for immediate distribution. Chapter 1, Part 2. Humans, and how best to interact with them after first contact. If you have diligently adhered to the advice contained within the previous chapter, then your first encounter with a human should have gone relatively smoothly. No one was hurt, nothing expensive or valuable was broken, and no mandatory evacuations were necessary. Excellent work, citizen. This is a step in the right direction. But what if you are serving aboard a Federation starship and have to work alongside human crew members? What if you are a shopkeeper on Iraq's 5 and a human opens a shop across the street? What will you do if a human moves into the habitation block next door? These are all situations that we must be prepared to deal with as human integration continues across the Federation. As such, it is not enough for you to know the proper protocols when first making a human's acquaintance. You must also know what do and what not to do in case of regular and sustained contact. This chapter will help you do just that. After meeting and introducing yourself to the human, and proceeding on the assumption that the first moments of contact have proceeded smoothly, you will quickly notice that the human displays a number of puzzling and surprising traits. You are reminded once more, the humans are not a monolith, and that not all of them will display the characteristics outlined here. In such circumstances, you are advised to remain polite and courteous and seek professional assistance at the nearest intercultural outreach facility. If you are an enlisted member of the Federation Armed Forces, you are advised to ask your commanding officer for advice. That said, let us proceed. The first thing you will notice about your human, for the purpose of this exercise we shall call him Dave, is that he is possessed of an almost frantic energy. Whether they are setting up a business, learning Federation standard military drills, or learning to use a new piece of technology, humans throw themselves into whatever they're doing. You may wonder if the human has been imbibing some sort of hallucinogen-inducing fungi or some other prescribed substance, but rest assured, this is probably not the case. The human tendency to hurry, to get things done as quickly and efficiently as possible, is a byproduct of their own evolutionary history. Unlike some Federation species which can survive for hundreds of standard years, humans have a much shorter lifespan. They become aware of this at a surprisingly early age, and this knowledge drives them to accomplish as much as they possibly can in the time they have. Why such early awareness of their own mortality does not drive their species into a permanent state of existential crisis is a question for which the Federation's most gifted xenopsychologists have no answer. This can be something of a hindrance, as their enthusiasm can often lead them to make mistakes, but it can also be an enormous asset, both to their species and to our Federation as a whole. Remember, the human species is very young, barely out of infancy by the standards of many other races, and yet they have accomplished much in that short stretch of time. One need only look at the vast glittering sprawl of human cities on their colonized worlds, and the rapid advancement of their technological prowess to see the truth of this. Therefore, when your human Dave sets about acclimating himself to his new environs, he will likely do so with abandon. If he is struggling to learn how to use the replicator or adjust the enviro setting in his habitation unit, he will persist until he either succeeds or exhaustion forces him to stop. As with any fellow citizen and neighbour, you are encouraged to offer assistance when able. If Dave is feeling frustrated or angry, he may refuse with more vehemence than is probably necessary. Do not be offended if that is the case. Humans are easily agitated and can act irrationally when in a negative emotional state. Simply reply calmly in the affirmation and leave. In almost all cases, Dave will come find you later once he's had time to cool down and apologise. This is considered a sign of great humility among humans, and you are advised to accept it graciously. It is considered extremely rude not to accept an apology when sincerely given. You must also be prepared for Dave to come to you with any questions he might have. Humans are, and have always been, a highly curious and inquisitive species, and when their curiosity is roused, it is very difficult to dissuade or reason with them. If, for example, you and Dave are on shore leave on the jungle world of Lorak, he will likely be overcome with curiosity about the native wildlife and may attempt to run off into the jungle in search of answers, or worse, try to catch small samples of native fauna in small receptacles to take back with him as pets. For more on the concept of pets, see previous entry. Given how dangerous many of the native species on Lorak are, that would be an extremely undesirable situation. It therefore falls to you to answer Dave's questions to the best of your ability. If you do not know the answer, simply say so. Where applicable, you are also advised to tell Dave where to find the information he seeks. In the scenario outlined above, you might recommend Arc Naturalist Xylons and an illustrative guide to non-sapient species. Let's look at how that conversation might go. Dave: Wow, what is that thing? Do you see that? Look up there. Do you see that? You: Yes, Dave. That is a Lorchian giant moth. It is indeed very beautiful. You are lucky to see one. They spend years pupating underground before they emerge fully grown. In several more lunar cycles, the sky will be filled with them. Dave: What about that giant insect thing over there? You: I am not sure what that is. It has a large stinger and sharp mandibles. Perhaps you should leave it alone. Dave: Nah, I'll be fine. I think I'm going to try and catch one. Maybe someone back on the ship will know what it is. You: I have an idea, Dave. Instead of doing that, why not borrow my copy of Arc Naturalist Xylons, an illustrative guide to non-sapient species? Whatever that large insectoid is, it will likely be listed there. Dave: Oh, okay. Sure, that sounds great. You see, human curiosity can be hazardous, but with practice, you can learn how to redirect it in order to ensure the safety of everyone, humans and non-humans alike. If you are struggling to find a way to do this, always remember, humans love to talk about themselves, where they come from, and anything and everything Terran. They love to answer questions as much as they love to ask them, and in approximately 99% of cases, any sign of curiosity on your part will be met with an exuberantly positive response. But be careful not to come across as condescending. Nothing gets under a human's skin like the feeling of being talked down to, and if Dave believes you are not treating him as an equal member of Federation society, he will not respond well. Let's look at another hypothetical situation to see how that might play out. Dave: Wow, what is that thing? Do you see that? Look up there. Do you see that? You: Yes, human Dave. That is a Lorchian giant moth. It is indeed very beautiful. You are lucky to see one. They spend years pupating underground before they emerge fully grown. In several more lunar cycles, the sky will be filled with them. Dave: What about that giant insect thing over there? You: I am not sure what that is. It has a large stinger and sharp mandibles. Perhaps you should leave it alone. Dave: Nah, I'll be fine. I think I'm going to try and catch one. Maybe someone back on the ship will know what it is. You: Why in the name of the Federation would you want to do something so stupid? Do you not see how dangerous that creature could be if it gets loose? Do you not care about the safety of your crewmates? What is wrong with you? Dave: You're about to find out. You: Human Dave, please drop the knife. This is, of course, an extreme example, but the point remains, humans can be very unpredictable, especially when reacting to an insult. When in an aggressive state, some humans have more self-control than others. A few will even enter a kind of berserker state, destroying everything around them until they either run out of things to destroy or pass out from exhaustion. There really is no way of knowing, and if your human being shows signs of such an extreme emotional response, you must be able to calm him down without aggravating him further. But thankfully, this is the exception, not the norm. Most humans, when in a situation like the one described above, will simply do what they were already going to do. Only this time, they will do it purely to spite you. This too is to be avoided whenever possible. So now that you are equipped to handle human curiosity, you may be wondering, what's next? Excellent question, citizen. The next thing you need to know about humans is that they are extremely hard workers. Indeed, they might even rival the swarm hives of Laryntics. This too is another way in which the Federation will benefit from them. Give a human a task and they will not stop until the task in question is completed. It does not matter if the human is instructed to memorize a new drill, learn to operate a piece of technology, or unload refrigeration crates from a cargo hauler. And if the human believes that those around him will doubt his ability to do so, he will in all likelihood work doubly hard simply to prove them wrong. It may be tempting for you to use such taunts as a way to inspire greater productivity. Do not, under any circumstances, do this. Not only is it rude and disrespectful, but depending on the conditions the human is working in, it can even lead to physical harm. the human may work himself to the point of collapse, or he may lose his temper with you and act rashly. Neither of these things are desirable. If, for example, the human is part of a team working on a construction site in a humid or very hot climate, they may well exhaust themselves or even enter a state of severe dehydration in their zeal to prove you wrong. Let us return to the analogy with Dave to help illustrate this important point. For the purposes of this example, let us say that you and Dave are working on a new greenhouse unit at a wildlife monitoring station. To begin with, here is what you should do if Dave is pushing himself too hard. Dave: this planet is awesome. I love how green it is, and there's so many new animals and plants to study. I'm so glad the Federation assigned me to the Xenobiology Corps. You: indeed, human Dave. The study of the galaxy's creatures is a worthy cause. When this greenhouse unit is complete, you will be able to study many examples of Lorcan plant life and cultivate samples for off-world study. Dave: all the more reason to get it finished quickly. We need to have this roof done before the monsoon season begins. You: human Dave, you are excreting copious amounts of a salt-laced, water-based excretion from your outer skin layer. Are you alright? Dave: thanks for asking, but I feel great. Let's keep going. We've got to get this done. You: human Dave, we are already ahead of schedule and this planet's orbital cycle has not even reached midday yet. Let us descend to the ground and partake in some sustenance. While we imbue nutrients, you may tell me of the human city of Cleveland, from which you hail. Is this amenable to you, human Dave? Dave: sure, that sounds great. You see? By showing interest in Dave's home and remaining courteous and sincere, you were able to make sure Dave did not put himself in danger from dehydration or heat stroke. But that conversation could have gone very differently. Let's see a worst case scenario. Dave: this plant is awesome. I love how green it is, and there's so many new animals and plants to study. I'm so glad the Federation assigned me to the Xenobiology Corps. You: indeed, human Dave. The study of the galaxy's creatures is a worthy cause. When this greenhouse unit is complete, you will be able to study many examples of Lorcan plant life and cultivate samples for off-world study. Dave: all the more reason to get it finished quickly. We need to have this roof done before the monsoon season begins. You: human Dave, you are in danger of hurting yourself in your blinkered obsession to get this project completed. You are already showing signs of lightheadedness, sluggishness, and extreme physical weariness. Dave: I'm not that tired. You: yes, you are. You humans take such poor care of yourselves that it is a wonder you ever reach the stars at all. Dave: oh yeah? Well, it's a wonder you've managed to last this long on this project without someone shoving you off the roof for being a jerk. You: I do understand what you are saying. Dave: shove. This type of outcome is precisely what this primer is meant to help you avoid. By keeping in mind the human's energetic and inquisitive nature, and by knowing how best to utilize it while maintaining your safety and the safety of those around you, you will be doing your part to ensure greater understanding and harmony with our new Terran friends. In the next section, you will learn what to do if you are sharing a habitation space with a human. This knowledge will be particularly relevant if you are an enlisted being in the armed services, as you may find yourself bunking down with humans in your barracks or aboard a Federation naval vessel. You are strongly advised to take notes.